Greetings. I go by Anime Dreams, and it's a pleasure to have you join me on this channel. Today's fanfiction premise is: what would happen if Deku possessed Chakra? Disclaimer: the content presented here is intended for entertainment and discussion purposes exclusively. I want to clarify that I don't claim ownership of any anime footage featured in my content. All credits and rights belong to their original creators and copyright holders. Without further ado, let's delve into the discussion. Not all individuals are born with equal circumstances. To Izuku Midoriya, this stark truth became evident at the tender age of 4 when he was diagnosed as quirkless, instantly marking him as a target for those endowed with abilities. At 6 years old, he found himself fleeing from his assailants once more, having intervened to protect another child from their tormentors, yet failing to quell the bully's aggression. "Get back here, Deku!" A fiery blonde bellowed, conjuring small explosions from his palms. "I see him, Bakugo. He won't escape," echoed another, with elongated fingers. "I need to find cover, I need to vanish." Izuku's mind raced as he evaded his pursuers. Why do I keep placing myself in these predicaments? Despite his internal questioning, his instinctual response to injustice propelled him forward. As he sprinted through unfamiliar terrain, the fear of being caught gnawed at him. Lost in the dense forest, he couldn't afford to slow down, lest the bullies catch up and subject him to further harm. His confusion over his childhood friend's sudden animosity added to his distress. What had he done to deserve such enmity? Lost in thought, he nearly collided with the side of a small mountain. Startled, he scanned his surroundings and darted towards a nearby cave entrance, a fleeting hope amidst desperation. Without hesitation, he plunged into the darkness, only to realize his mistake as he slid deeper into the mountain with a resounding thud. Note to self: refrain from impulsive cave dives, Izuku groaned, nursing his sore rear. Panic set in as he grasped the gravity of his situation. "I'm trapped in a cavern within a mountain," he murmured, tears welling in his eyes. Navigating the dimly lit cave with a makeshift torch, memories of his mother's camping lessons surfaced, mingling with the trauma of being bullied. Hours passed fruitlessly, and Izuku found himself collapsed on the cave floor, tears streaming down his face. "I just want to go home, to see my mom again, to watch All Might videos," he sobbed, the weight of his circumstances bearing down on him. In his mind's eye, the events leading to his current plight flashed before him, culminating in the enigmatic figure of Katsuki Bakugo. "Why does he torment me? I haven't wronged him, I'm simply striving to become a hero," his mind pondered earnestly, confronting the situation for the first time. He's not my ally. For some inexplicable reason, he harbors animosity towards me, even though I'm just trying to lead my life. He singles me out without cause," he whispered tearfully. Moments passed swiftly, and the young boy eventually exhausted his tears. "I just want to return home, I don't want to cause my mother distress. I just want to be a hero," he reaffirmed, steeling his determination. "I cannot linger here, shedding tears, if I am to be a hero. I must cease crying and press on, there must be an escape from this place." With renewed resolve, he resumed his journey, but as he treaded for another hour, his newfound determination began to wane once more. After all, he was but a small child. Suddenly, it seemed fate smiled upon him, as torches inexplicably illuminated a corridor to his right. "What?" he stammered. "Could it be that someone awaits at the end of this corridor, amidst this fire? Perhaps I could seek aid. Or perchance this is a villain's lair," his initial elation giving way to apprehension. Gathering his courage, he opted to cautiously traverse the corridor, prepared to retreat and conceal himself if necessary, in the darkness. He proceeded slowly through the corridor, employing all his senses, yet the further he ventured, the more evident it became that the passage had long been forsaken, despite the sudden illumination of torches. Eventually, after an extended trek, he arrived at what appeared to be a spacious chamber with numerous tunnel openings. Surveying each tunnel, contemplating his next move, his eyes widened with astonishment. "A chamber!" Izuku exclaimed joyously. Within the tunnel lay an actual chamber, furnished with a table and chairs at its center, surrounded by bookshelves laden with ancient tomes and scrolls. At the far end stood a desk, its corner adorned with a small torch. However, what truly delighted Izuku was the presence of a map upon the central table. A map? Yes. He cheered, hastening towards it, his gaze widening. It appeared the expansive chamber, with its myriad entrances, lay nestled within the heart of a mountain, each tunnel leading to a different location on the mountain. So, by taking this tunnel, I will find an exit approximately 25 minutes away from home. Izuku seized the map and dashed towards the exit, yet a nagging curiosity compelled him to pause and inspect the books and scrolls upon the shelves. I simply wish to uncover the nature of this place. A brief inquiry won't cause harm, he reasoned. And so, he perused the scrolls upon the desk, until something seized his attention. Ninjas? If he interpreted correctly, he found himself within a clandestine military facility for ninjas, belonging to a village known as Konoha, the hidden leaf village within the Land of Fire. He continued to delve into the documents, though many concepts eluded his comprehension. One name recurred in nearly every scroll he perused, Namikaze Minato. All these scrolls are addressed to him, perhaps he held a position of authority, he mused, his gaze shifting from the desk to the shelves. Aware of the impending consequences should he tarry, yet a gut feeling impelled him to seek further elucidation. He stood before a towering bookcase perusing the titles of the volumes, when one particularly intrigued him, Compendium for Enhancing Ninjutsu Through Chakra Mastery, volume number 1 of 14, he chuckled at its grandiose title, but his interest was piqued. Opening the book, his eyes widened at the name inscribed within, Namikaze Minato. This discovery of a handwritten tome authored by a pivotal figure from the war stirred a sense of significance within him. As Izuku delved into the pages, a long-dormant sensation stirred within him, hope. The concept of chakra elucidated in the text suggested a universal potential within every individual. Energized, he absorbed the intricate teachings, his agile intellect processing the information with fervor. The revelation that chakra comprised a fusion of physical and spiritual energies, coursing through the body via intricate pathways, elevated Izuku's aspirations. The prospect of harnessing this energy for heroic feats ignited his determination. Realizing the time, Izuku retrieved a forgotten map, mindful of his impending familial obligations. Hastening home, he navigated the tunnels with ease, guided by the map's illumination. Upon reaching the tunnel's end, he encountered an unexpected obstacle, a concealed exit. Maintaining composure, Izuku scrutinized his surroundings, uncovering a concealed mechanism that granted egress. Grateful for his resourcefulness, he resolved to safeguard his newfound knowledge, recognizing its potential significance to his heroic ambitions. Returning home under the cloak of night, Izuku contemplated his next steps, harboring both excitement and trepidation. Concealing his discovery from his mother weighed heavily on his conscience, yet he acknowledged the necessity of secrecy for his heroic pursuits. Upon securing the entrance to the cave, Izuku embarked on his journey, envisioning a future where he would embody hope and heroism. Thus began his odyssey toward becoming the legendary symbol of hope, the Green Flash. Izuku sprinted with all the speed his diminutive legs could muster, brimming with excitement despite the imminent trouble awaiting him. He clutched his potential to be a hero tightly, believing that these tomes held the key to his dreams. After 25 minutes of relentless running, he finally arrived home, slightly out of breath but resolute. He knew his mother would be furious, yet he couldn't contain his urge to share his discovery. As he turned the knob of his dwelling, the door swung open, revealing his mother in distress, clutching a tissue and phone. "Izuku!" she cried, dropping the phone to envelop her son in a tight embrace. "Where were you?" "I was beside myself with worry." "You're in big trouble, young man." She sobbed into his ear. "Sorry, Mom, I lost track of time playing." "But I'm fine, I promise," he reassured, eager to divulge his news. However, their conversation was interrupted by a buzz from the phone she had dropped. "Were you talking to someone, Mom?" "Oh, I was on the line with the police," she explained, causing Izuku's eyes to widen in alarm. After exchanging words with the officer, she turned back to her son. "I thought something had happened to you." "You're never late, and I panicked. You could have gotten hurt or lost. Izuku tried to conceal his discomfort, knowing deep down that his mother's fears were valid. I know, Mom. I'm sorry. I just lost track of time playing, he admitted sheepishly. Do I have to face a punishment, or can I retreat to my room? Inko's eyes welled with tears. No punishment this time, Izu. Just promise me you'll be more mindful next time, she sighed. Dinner is ready whenever you're ready to eat. I'm not hungry, Izuku murmured as he made his way to his room, leaving his mother teary-eyed at the doorway, oblivious to the 2 books in his possession. Leaning against his door, Izuku contemplated his mother's concerns. Despite her good intentions, her words stung. He took a deep breath, resolving to focus on his studies. Perhaps mastering the contents of these books would alleviate his mother's worries. With determination, he opened the volume on chakra and ninjutsu, along with his own notebook, ready to delve into his studies. It has been 48 hours since the tumultuous event atop the peak, where he stumbled upon the tomes and embraced his newfound determination to emerge as a hero. Yet, Izuku found himself grappling with frustration. Despite thoroughly absorbing the contents of the books and meticulously annotating them, he remained unable to access the chakra. Mulling over it, what flaw am I overlooking? Izuku murmured. Perhaps my stamina, honed through evading my peers, is adequate for my age. I owe that to Bakugo, begrudgingly. This realization underscored another task he tackled, shedding his old moniker for Bakugo. And despite diligent meditation, I failed to harness the spiritual energy. Perhaps this endeavor eludes me, perhaps the doubters are right, and I am destined to remain a Deku. His determination wavered. After all, he was merely a diminutive target of ridicule, bombarded with assertions of his worthlessness and incapacity to ascend as a hero. Slumping to the floor of his chamber, Izuku surrendered. Despite his fervent efforts, frustration enveloped him, nothing seemed to yield results. He allowed himself to collapse entirely, gazing upward at the ceiling adorned with a solitary poster of All Might, bearing the inspiring inscription, "You can do it, I believe in you." To Izuku's juvenile mind, it felt as though his idol was speaking directly to him, urging, "Do not falter, kid." This renewed his resolve. Drawing a deep breath, Izuku straightened. He resolved to persevere, refusing to succumb when a glimmer of hope materialized before him. Let's give it another shot, Izuku muttered, mentally rehearsing the steps he had gleaned from online research to induce a meditative state. With a cleansing breath, he commenced the ritual. After a prolonged interval, Izuku delved into a profound meditative state, envisioning himself adrift in a boundless expanse of white. He endeavored once more to access the energies requisite for chakra activation, swiftly grasping the physical energy, now familiar with its essence. Mentally, he molded it into a verdant sphere, cradling it in his palm. Now, he delved inward, seeking the spiritual energy. Ordinarily, frustration or distraction would derail his efforts after mere minutes, yet this time, fueled by unwavering resolve, he persisted. Suddenly, a novel sensation stirred within him, a hitherto undiscovered energy. Striving to maintain focus and temper his excitement, he began to pursue that novel sensation. Initially, he discerned its distinct departure from mere physical vigor. Where physical energy was unrestrained and lively, this new sensation felt comforting was the sole descriptor his mind could summon, akin to a longing fulfilled. At last, he spotted it, a sizable crimson aura within his psyche. That must be it. He exulted internally, anticipation igniting within him. He reached out, yet found his grasp futile, unlike the tangible energy which yielded to his touch. Come hither, come forth. He urged inwardly, teetering on the brink of distraction. Just a bit closer, I'm nearly there, he rallied himself, refusing to succumb to doubt. I will prove all skeptics wrong. I shall emerge as a beacon of salvation, armed with naught but a smile. With each passing moment, uncertainty and hesitation dissipated, replaced by a surge of genuine optimism and resolve. Indeed, I shall be that, an emblem of hope for all. With a triumphant smile, his hand finally connected with the warm energy, transforming it into a radiant sphere of crimson light. And nothing shall impede me, he affirmed softly, merging the two energies with purposeful intent. Izuku jolted awake, finding himself once more in his chamber, disoriented. What just transpired? He wondered aloud, his gaze darting around the room before widening in realization. I've done it. I've truly done it, he murmured. Or had he? Shaking off any lingering uncertainty, he resolved to press onward. Focusing inward, he stifled a gasp as he sensed it, the flow of chakra coursing through his being. With renewed determination, he channeled this newfound energy, his chakra, into his hand, emitting a startled squeak at the sight of azure energy enveloping it. Tears of joy streamed down his cheeks at last, he had achieved his goal after countless trials. I must hone my chakra, he chuckled softly, contemplating his next steps. I must master it and surpass all others. And acquire the next 12 volumes of Minato's tomes, he mused, pausing momentarily. Namikaze Minato, though I know not your story nor your fate. Thank you for guiding me towards my aspirations. Though the path ahead may be long, I am certain, with your guidance and wisdom, I can prevail. Thank you, Sensei, he whispered, a faint smile gracing his lips. In a remote mountain, far from human habitation, a surge of vital energy stirred, awakening dormant powers long forgotten. Centuries had passed since anyone had tapped into this wellspring of energy. With the decline of hidden villages and the dawn of a new era, the age of ninjas waned, giving way to the emergence of quirks in the world. A new shinobi has emerged. This shall prove most intriguing, rasped a diminutive figure. The ensuing week proved tumultuous for Izuku as he dedicated most of his time to honing his inner energy, diligently studying the techniques outlined in volume number 2 of Minato-sensei's teachings. Repeatedly, he found himself sprawled on the floor of his room, attempting to scale its walls, a skill he deemed essential for mastery. Yet, the art of channeling chakra proved far more arduous in practice than in theory. After numerous failed attempts, Izuku acknowledged the necessity of physical conditioning to augment his chakra reserves. Perhaps some jogging and calisthenics are in order, he murmured to himself, mindful of the limited time he had to spare. Although he longed to confide in his mother, he resolved to showcase his abilities first. To him, mastering chakra control was but the initial stride towards proving himself worthy of the title of hero. After a brief respite, Izuku resumed his efforts, striving to strike the delicate balance between channeling enough chakra to cling to the wall and avoiding an excessive release that could damage the structure. With each failure, he gleaned valuable insights, inching closer to his goal. Ah, I felt my foot grip the wall that time, he noted, adjusting the chakra flow before gingerly planting his right foot against the surface, a triumphant grin adorning his face. As he prepared to replicate the feat with his left foot, a surge of apprehension gripped him. Yet, to his astonishment, he found himself defying gravity, traversing the ceiling with newfound agility. Eureka! He exclaimed, his elation abruptly interrupted by a commotion outside. Moments later, his mother entered, her eyes widening in disbelief at the surreal sight before her. Izuku? She stammered incredulously. Mom, I need to have a conversation with you, Izuku declared, still grinning widely from the ceiling. Inko Midoriya felt concern for her son ever since that late night. He rarely left his room, only emerging for meals and baths. She knew he might be upset with her for what she said earlier, but as a single mother, she worried about his lack of quirk despite her promise to support him. As she washed the dishes, a scream from Izuku's room startled her. Dropping a dish, she rushed to find him standing on the ceiling. Izuku? She gasped. Hey Mom, I need to talk to you, he said, still grinning. Her worry deepened. How are you doing that? Get down right now. As Izuku explained his training with chakra, Inko's confusion grew. He showed her books and recounted a fantastical tale of ninjas and inner energy. Despite her skepticism, seeing him walk on walls and ceilings was undeniable. Why didn't you tell me earlier? She asked, seeing his smile fade. I wanted to prove I could be a hero without a quirk, Izuku confessed, touching her hand. His words weighed heavily on her heart, stirring guilt for her past remarks. She wanted to believe him, but the incredible nature of his abilities left her uncertain. "I don't possess a unique ability, Mom, I've come to terms with that," he said, as a surge of cerulean energy enveloped him, widening Inko's eyes once more. "This is something distinct, an amalgamation of energies within me, Mom," the azure aura dissipated. "I implore you to have faith in me, Mom, please. I am convinced I can become a hero." Inko was taken aback by that statement. It echoed words from 4 years ago, but now, it wasn't a query. She sensed the conviction in his voice. This time, he wasn't seeking reassurance but rather support to pursue his dream. "Izuku. I trust you, and I apologize for my earlier doubts." She knelt before Izuku, placing her hands on his slender shoulders. "Izuku, you have the potential to become a hero, scratch that, you will become the finest hero." Tears streamed down her face as her son embraced her tightly, whispering his gratitude. She melted into the embrace, only for Izuku to break it suddenly and sheepishly ask, "Now that we're on the subject, could you accompany me to the cave? I need to collect all the volumes from Minato-sensei," scratching the back of his head. Walking through the forest with his mother was proceeding slower than expected, yet nothing could dampen the joy Izuku felt. His mother finally believed in him and was willing to support his dream. "How much farther are we going, sweetie?" Inko, exhausted, inquired softly. "I don't have the stamina I once did." "We're nearly there, Mom. Just another 50 meters, and we'll reach the base of the mountain," Izuku reassured her, consulting the map in his hands. "Actually, Mom, there are 5 other entrances to the mountain. I stumbled upon the one near the park behind." Izuku stopped short. "What's behind, sweetie?" Inko raised an eyebrow. "Nothing, Mom. Look, we're here." Ignoring her puzzled expression, Izuku located the button under the tree's root. "See the wall, Mom? It's incredible." Pressing the button, the wall hissed open. "Izuku, is this normal?" Inko peered into the dark cave with wide eyes. "Yes, Mom, this is the entrance. We just need to walk another 25 minutes at most to reach the main room." Izuku beamed and entered the cave, oblivious to his mother's tired sigh. Inside, he illuminated the flashlight and closed the door securely. "I don't want anyone to discover this, Mom. It's my only chance at becoming a hero, and I need to keep it a secret," he confessed, feeling somewhat ashamed. "I understand, Izu, and I'm honored you trust me with this," she smiled back, following him. "But, Izu, you wouldn't even tell Katsuki about this?" Izuku nearly stumbled at her question. "Why?" he stuttered, pondering his response. "Why keep it from your friend, honey?" she persisted. Izuku bit his lip, unsure how to reply. He turned to his mom, meeting her concerned gaze, and decided to deepen their trust further. Bakugo isn't my friend anymore, Mom," tears welled in his eyes. "Once he found out I lacked a quirk, he ceased being my friend, and eventually, he started attacking me," his mom gasped. "I haven't provoked him, Mom, he's just cruel to me because he can be," tears now freely flowing. "And the teachers do nothing, Mom, they just let him continue." "Oh Izu!" his mother exclaimed, tears streaming down her cheeks as she dropped to her knees and embraced him tightly. "I'm deeply sorry, Izuku. I've noticed some concerning behavior and how you'd return home with bruises, but I foolishly brushed it off as rough play." "It's all right, Mom. I'm okay," Izuku reassured her as she pulled away from the hug, her gaze intense as she studied his eyes. "Has Katsuki ever used his quirk on you?" she asked, her tone grave. "Yes," Izuku whispered, lifting his shirt to reveal a small burn mark on his back. "It's not frequent, but when I intervene to protect other kids, he becomes enraged." "Oh, Izu, don't worry. I'll speak with Mitsuki. This cannot continue," his mother vowed, determination evident in her voice. "But I don't want to get him in trouble, Mom," Izuku murmured. "I don't want that either, Izu, but he must learn the consequences of his actions." It's not just about you, he's harming other children too, she explained. And I'll have a serious discussion with your teachers. Such behavior should not be tolerated. I wanted to discuss something, Mom. I know I've just completed 3rd grade, but I don't want to remain at that school, Izuku confessed, anxiety flickering in his eyes. Inko's eyes widened, but before she could respond, Izuku continued, I understand it's nearby, but I can wake up early or use a bike. I have some savings, and with time, I could afford one to attend another school. I promise. We'll make it happen, Izu. I'll find another school nearby with strict anti-bullying policies, she interrupted, determination gleaming in her eyes. Even if you now possess something resembling a quirk, she added with a smile. Izuku couldn't resist embracing her tightly. Thank you, Mom, he whispered. But I'd prefer to keep my abilities private for now. I need more training and don't yet know the extent of what I can achieve with Chakra. Of course, Izuku. We'll proceed at your pace. But for now, show me this room you mentioned before I begin researching your new school and any legal actions against your current one, she instructed, and Izuku nodded, rolling with her determination. After their heartfelt conversation, they continued walking, their steps infused with renewed vigor. 20 minutes later, torches lining the walls illuminated their path, startling Inko momentarily, but Izuku held her hand to calm her, and she gradually relaxed. I still don't comprehend the mechanics, but it's truly fascinating, isn't it? His mother simply nodded, appearing more at ease yet still taken aback. Within 5 minutes, they arrived at the central cavern, where Izuku, taking his mother's hand, guided her toward Minato's quarters. Mom, behold the location I've mentioned. Izuku exclaimed excitedly, darting toward the bookshelves to retrieve the remainder of Minato's chakra books, urging his mother to assist him. So, you're the one who awakened Chakra, eh? A mysterious voice rasped. Izuku and his mother dropped the books they held, scanning the surroundings for the speaker. Did you hear that too, Mom? Izuku whispered to Inko, who vigorously nodded in response. I'm up here, kid. Their heads swiveled upward to behold, to their astonishment, not a person but a remarkably ancient-looking toad. Ah, I presume these are your belongings. Apologies for the intrusion, sir, I was simply captivated by, a hearty laugh cut him off. Fret not, young one. I possess naught within these confines, they once belonged to a comrade of my kind, the toad remarked, surveying the scrolls. I apologize if my son handled anything without consent, sir. He possesses an insatiable curiosity, but rest assured, we shall depart post-haste. Izuku, kindly return the books to their rightful places, and let us depart, Inko interjected. Izuku was on the verge of protest when the elderly toad interjected. Oh no, feel free to take anything within these walls, as I've mentioned before, I am but a mere observer here, ma'am, he chuckled softly. However, perhaps I can be of assistance to you, young lad, the toad continued, leaving Izuku and Inko befuddled. While animals with quirks were exceedingly rare, they were uncertain about the toad's intentions and his mention of aiding Izuku. Ah, perhaps if I were to demonstrate, please accompany me to the central cavern, ma'am, young lad, the toad leapt off the bookshelf and, in another bound, exited the room. What are your thoughts, Izuku? Inko inquired anxiously. Izuku nervously bit his lip, inundated with questions regarding the toad's cryptic statements and his assertion of Minato's ties to their kind. Let's proceed, mother. I believe he is dependable. They exited the room cautiously, strategically positioning themselves at the tunnel's entrance, with the elderly toad in the middle of the main cave, observing them with a benevolent smile. I see you're quite the tactician, prepared to flee if necessary. Impressive, Izuku's plan was already uncovered, causing him to sweat. But fret not, young lad, perhaps after my demonstration, you'll trust me more. With a clap of his hands, the energy within the toad changed abruptly, startling Izuku. He's harnessing chakra. Izuku exclaimed before the old toad began forming hand signs. He's preparing to. Earth style, rock wall. The small toad interjected, creating a massive rock wall before them. That lad wields ninjutsu, and I offer to train him. The elder toad proclaimed with a wide grin. Though tempted, Izuku's rational side hesitated. Why offer your aid? It would benefit me greatly, but what's in it for you? His mother beamed proudly at him. Ha ha, you're eager yet cautious. Admirable. A true shinobi trait, the toad nodded approvingly. I gain nothing tangible from this arrangement, but it's been eons since someone awakened their chakra. I'm intrigued by you, we share that curiosity. I also believe in the significance of someone introducing chakra in this era, a counterbalance to quirks. An inner energy attained through diligence, study, and willpower, amidst a world where others are born with inherent advantages. It's remarkable, the toad explained, eliciting warmth in Izuku. How can you be certain I lack inherent abilities? Izuku inquired, captivated. In this age, obtaining chakra is arduous and rare. Why would a young lad strive for a forgotten power if not for lacking one of his own? The toad's gentle smile resonated with Izuku. That must be the look of a proud grandparent, Izuku thought, glancing at his mother, who mirrored the toad's expression. I accept, Toad-sensei. I am Midoriya Izuku, he bowed respectfully. You'll evolve into an exceptional shinobi, young Izuku. I'm Fukusa, but you may address me as you wish. The toad croaked enthusiastically. It was meant to be a straightforward assignment for Aizawa, a simple incursion against a group of petty criminals causing trouble in the Mustafu district. His information was concise, 2 lackeys and their leader, all wielding emitter quirks. Approaching the designated warehouse, Aizawa peered through a window, spotting his targets. With a deep breath, he leapt inside, landing on the first thug before deactivating the leader's pyrokinetic quirk with his own and ensnaring the other thug with his scarf, swiftly incapacitating him against a wall. With 2 foes down, Aizawa focused on the remaining one. Dodging a gunshot, he propelled himself onto nearby crates using his scarf, attempting to ensnare the boss who deftly evaded at the last moment. As the boss fled, Aizawa skillfully dodged fire bursts, eventually capturing the leader's leg and neutralizing his quirk, subduing him with a forceful pull to the ground. As Aizawa approached the fallen thug, he remarked, "Your tactics surprised me, Intel only mentioned knives or quirks for intimidation. I'll have to have a word with the officers who provided that information. They described you as merely 3 nuisances causing havoc in the district." Just as he exited the warehouse, the gang leader smirked and revealed the presence of their newest member, Brick, who delivered a powerful punch to Aizawa's face, sending him staggering into a nearby garbage container, narrowly avoiding losing consciousness. "Your intel arrived too early," the leader taunted. "Meet Brick, our latest addition. You certainly made an impact, hero, but Brick wasn't present when you descended upon us." Aizawa lay barely conscious, yet he discerned that the newcomer, Brick, possessed a mutation quirk, rendering him brick-like in composition. Their disregard for villain monikers seems evident now, though I lack the standing to criticize, Aizawa mused silently as he discreetly activated the distress signal concealed within his attire. "Brick here will ensure your well-being before escorting the others to our secondary facility, won't you, Brick?" The stony figure grunted in affirmation. "Excellent. I must attend to matters at our alternate location, time is of the essence in our enterprise." "Leaving the grunt work to your subordinates, I see," Aizawa interjected, stalling for assistance. "As the gang's leader, it's advantageous to distance myself from the hero's bloodshed," the figure retorted darkly, departing swiftly and leaving Aizawa at Brick's mercy. "Any chance of surrendering?" Aizawa queried, attempting to buy time. Brick smirked wickedly, delivering a forceful kick that sent Aizawa reeling. "I take that as a no," Aizawa remarked through bloodied coughs, resigned to his fate. "Perishing at the hands of a brickman, inadequate preparation on my part," Aizawa conceded internally as Brick seized him by the collar. A sudden cry interrupted their altercation, signaling the arrival of aid. "Hey!" Relief washed over Aizawa as he glimpsed a teenage bystander, no older than 14, confronting them. Inopportune timing, Aizawa thought anxiously as the teen brandished 2 knives. "Vacate the premises," child," Aizawa urged, but the teen remained steadfast, demonstrating proficiency with his blades. Impulsive, yet skilled, Aizawa observed as the teen launched a knife toward Brick, aiming for distraction. An errant throw, Aizawa lamented, yet before his eyes, the teen intercepted the falling blade, executing a flawless roundhouse kick that sent Brick hurtling into the building's facade. Remarkable strength, Aizawa marveled, astonished by the teen's prowess. "Are you unharmed?" the teen inquired, oblivious to the danger he had averted. Grateful though he was, Aizawa admonished, "Your intervention was reckless, placing us both in jeopardy. You seem to be in a precarious situation, sir. I couldn't simply ignore it. Rest assured, I'll assist you in navigating through this." The youngster prepared to aid the man to his feet when Brick suddenly lunged at him. "Watch out, kid!" Aizawa exclaimed, but the kid had vanished, and Brick stumbled to the ground, failing to catch him. As my friend often says, attacking from behind isn't honorable. They glanced to the end of the alley where the kid had first appeared, now reaching for another knife on the ground. His high-speed quirk seems to complement his knife skills, using one for attack and leaving the other as a contingency. Quite clever. "Don't underestimate me, kid. You won't leave here alive." Brick charged, and the kid swiftly retrieved more weapons from his bag. "Are those shurikens?" Aizawa remarked as the kid hurled them at Brick's face. "They'll just bounce off him," he thought, but the shurikens rebounded and struck Brick's arm joints, eliciting cries of pain. "Don't worry, they're not large enough to cause significant harm. They've just immobilized your arms temporarily. Once the police confiscate them, you'll be fine." Aizawa mentally face-bombed, noting the oddity of the kid apologizing to a villain. "Don't mock me, you foolish child." Brick, recovering from the pain, charged again like a human battering ram. The kid, unfazed, leapt into the air, evading him effortlessly. "Is he standing on the wall?" Aizawa observed, perplexed. Indeed, the kid was defying gravity, standing on the wall as if it were the ground. He then positioned himself in front of Aizawa, ready to defend him. "Your arms are incapacitated. Charging like a bull won't work. Surrender or retreat," the kid negotiated with the enraged Brick, who prepared for another assault. "He won't relent, kid. You're fast, you should leave me and save yourself," Aizawa reasoned. "You've bought me enough time. Help will arrive shortly. I can endure his blows until then." The kid, with concern in his eyes, contemplated his options before turning to Aizawa. "I can stop him, but intervening further without permission could jeopardize my dream of becoming a hero. However, I'm willing to risk it to save your life. Could you grant me permission?" Aizawa recognized the determination in the kid's eyes, willing to sacrifice his own aspirations to rescue him. He realized he held the power to spare the kid from potential consequences. "Are you confident in your ability to restrain him without sustaining injuries?" he observed the youngster squinting his eyes. "Certainly," was his succinct response. "Then go ahead and stop him. I'll handle the fire caused by your intervention." The youngster nodded and commenced with peculiar hand movements. At the end of the alley, Brick resumed charging toward them. The youngster placed his hands on the ground and exclaimed, "Earth-style, multiple rock walls." Suddenly, walls began to emerge from the ground. Aizawa counted at least 5 of them, with the last one appearing just in front of the youngster. "What did that kid just do?" he heard someone exclaim as something pierced through the walls. "Those walls won't halt him." "Kid, move!" he shouted, but the youngster remained still, waiting. With the 4th crash, he sidestepped, causing the 5th wall to explode into debris. Aizawa grew concerned, the youngster had failed and needed to flee. Before he could speak, the dust settled, revealing Brick unconscious on the ground. "Ha, I miscalculated. Perhaps his brick was denser than standard construction bricks," the youngster remarked, lifting the unconscious man with a stick. "What are you talking about, kid?" Aizawa couldn't help but inquire. "Well, despite his brick-like body, he still possesses a brain. Judging by his speed, I thought 4 walls would suffice to stop him." The third would cause a concussion, and the fourth would knock him down. I assumed his brick skin's density, considering standard bricks aren't that resilient. Fortunately, I erected the fifth wall. All right, you were prepared, I understand. Aizawa wasn't easily impressed, but this kid had decoded a criminal's quirk in mere minutes and devised a counter-strategy, not to mention identifying the weak points in the man's joints in seconds. Aizawa turned to the fallen criminal, intending to use quirk-suppressing handcuffs, only to find them as broken as his arm. Fantastic. Kid, help should be arriving soon. You should leave, he indicated the broken handcuffs. And as you can see, I can't restrain him. If he wakes up, you'll be in danger again. Ah, don't worry about it. I can immobilize him. Before Aizawa could inquire further, the youngster began the peculiar hand gestures once more. Lava style, ash stone ceiling. Suddenly, the youngster expelled a strange mud-like liquid from his mouth, covering the criminal except for his head and below his elbows. It might be risky to apply more pressure on the shurikens. But don't worry. His arms are still restrained. The youngster reassured Aizawa. Fret not, young one, your actions today were commendable. Had you not intervened, the outcome could have been dire for me, he assured, noting the approaching police sirens. Typically, I'd let you depart unscathed, but the aftermath begs inquiries I cannot sidestep. Fear not, I'll speak on your behalf. Aizawa, pragmatic as ever, couldn't suppress his gratitude toward the adolescent. It wasn't hyperbole to say his life hung in the balance before their encounter. Many thanks, Eraserhead-san. Aizawa's eyebrow arched at the familiarity. How do you recognize me? He inquired sharply, yet the youngster remained unfazed, perhaps more observant than anticipated. Your goggles gave you away. Upon closer inspection, your attire and scarf hinted at your identity. While not as renowned as other heroes, you have a following on internet forums, including myself. Your scarf tactics and quirk utility are remarkable. From seemingly thin air, the teen produced a notebook. I believe I have an entry about you here. After a brief perusal, he extended the book, bowing his head. Might I procure your autograph, please? Accepting the book with his uninjured hand, Aizawa's eyes widened anew. The analysis within surpassed his expectations, delving into nuances of his quirk he hadn't considered. The terrifying aspect lay in the strategies outlined to counter his abilities, while the astonishing part unveiled new potential and strengths he hadn't explored before. Eraserhead reinforcement has arrived. Mike's voice boomed, followed by a retinue of officers. Seems you've resolved matters, Mike observed, eyeing the subdued villain. Not entirely, Mike. This lad, Aizawa paused, turning to the teen. What's your name? Ah, Midoriya Izuku, sir. A devoted admirer, the boy, Midoriya, answered with another bow. Indeed. Midoriya saved me and handled the situation, Aizawa affirmed, preempting a protest from an officer. I expressly permitted his assistance. Without him, you'd be dealing with one casualty, mine. Midoriya, you'll accompany us to the station for your statement. I must see a physician first, then I'll join you, Aizawa directed Mike. Guard the lad well, Mike. He saved my life, he emphasized, exasperated when Midoriya exclaimed, I know Eraserhead's name. Rest assured, Shota, the kid's in good hands, Mike assured. Midoriya, mind if I hold on to this notebook until we reach the station? Need a diversion for the wait. Of course, but before that, Midoriya interjected, passing the book to Mike. Might I have your autograph? Present Mike chuckled, obliging without scrutiny. After the exchange, they departed for the police station. As Aizawa prepared for his hospital visit, he perused Midoriya's journal, oscillating between astonishment and dread. Opting to table his concerns for later, he shut the notebook, nearly fainting at its ominous title, Midoriya Izuku Strategic Hero Analysis, Volume Number 15. This lad is bound to stir up trouble, I can sense my precious sleep slipping away. Should I notify Nezu? This internal debate consumed Shota Aizawa for the remainder of his journey to the hospital. If you enjoyed this segment, please show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel, Anime Dreams. Thank you.